Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome back to another podcast episode of the BNB Football Talk podcast with my co-host Benny. What's up, Benny? And today we are actually bringing the podcast back. It's been well asked for, and definitely a lot of people wanted to see it. We're coming back at it with it, and we are actually doing something new. This is going to be season 2 of the podcast because we started this, I guess we can call it season 1, back when football season just ended. So we sort of had that as season 1. None of the videos are labeled season 1. It's just labeled the episode numbers 1, I think, to 5. Is that correct, Benny?
Yeah, I believe there's 5 episodes, but I think there's going to be a lot more this season. We're going to try to do one every week.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a lot more to talk about. Honestly, the main reason we didn't do it a lot in the past is just because there wasn't enough to talk about. And we're not going to put out content that, we're going to put out the best content that we can, personally with us. I know this applies for me, and I know this applies for Bryson. We don't want to put out content that we don't think is, good. So if it's not going to be, if we don't think it's going to be, anything interesting and there's nothing to talk about, then we're not going to put something out that we think people, to waste people's time. So, So that's the main reason why, but obviously we're in the NFL season now, so we're going to hope to have as many episodes as possible. I know there's always going to be something to talk about, so, I'm really excited for this season.
Yeah, me too, honestly. And there's going to be, like Benny said, we didn't put out content. We stopped the podcast after a certain amount of time because there wasn't any content. We don't want to just put out content that people aren't going to watch because we put hard work into those. I remember I edited one of the podcasts. It took me, I think, the whole weekend. Most of the weekend I did it.
Yeah.
And, it didn't turn out to be the best video. And, that was hard work that sort of just gets wasted. But We're going to put in hard work that's actually not going to be wasted. And I know so many people are going to really enjoy what we actually have in store. And we're going to, so many new things coming up. We sort of left Q&A out of it for now, by the way, if people were wondering if there's going to be a Q&A part. Right now there isn't. And I'm just going to actually break down the segments. But make sure, of course, to... there we go. Please subscribe, like, and turn on notifications for both of us. Of course, check out Benny's Twitter. It says my Twitter, but it's Benny's.
Yes.
And subscribe to Benny. And subscribe to me too. And let's just get straight into it. For segment 1, we are recapping the Week 1 games. So that is there's the banner, and I'm just gonna read it off. But that's where we're gonna hold on, Benny. And Next up, we got, for segment number 2, biggest surprises in Week 1, or not really bust, but we're going to talk about the teams that were subscribing, maybe a few players that just stood out. And then for, segment number 3, we got the injury report, which there's a lot of players on the injury report.
Yeah,
we'll get one of those every week. And some young players too on there. And then our last segment, saving the best for last, our next week games predictions, and we made a whole slideshow for that, which took also a decent amount of time, so please make sure that you appreciate it. So let's just get straight into it. For the recapping Week 1 games, me and Benny are just going to each say a few sentences about the game, then we're just going to move on, try to make it a little rapid fire, not too much, but we're just going to each give our thoughts. And,
we're going to try to make this as quick as possible, because there are obviously a lot of games, but I guess I'll start it out right here. I can start it out right here with Cowboys versus Buccaneers.
Go ahead.
Man, this is a thriller. This is the Thursday night game. This is really exciting. I feel like, as for the Cowboys, I really like what they saw from their offense. I actually expected this. From what their defense what I saw, this is what I expected, and this is not good for them. This could cause them to lose against a lot of teams. As for the Buccaneers, I liked how they were able to show up at the end, and I liked how their offense played, but also, like the Cowboys, their defense scared me, so I didn't expect that from their defense because they were one of the best in the NFL last year. So I'm pretty worried about that, but hopefully they can fix that out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Both teams' defensive side of the ball wasn't the best. When both teams are putting up points, it's a good game, but you also know that the defense wasn't playing their best. But I do believe Dak came back strong. I like the way Dak played, and that's just from an Eagles fan in the division. The Cowboys are going to be scary, in my opinion. Even though every year's their year, as Cowboys fans say, I do believe that they're going to be a team that actually could have some scariness to it. And as for the Buccaneers, I still think they're going to make the playoffs, do the same thing that they always do. But it's going to be a little bit of a rocky season for them. I think to start it off, they got a little bit of a tough schedule. The division isn't too strong, but I like the Buccaneers' chances, and they played a great game, even though the defense didn't step up.
Yeah, but going on to the next game, we'll go over the Seahawks versus Colts. I thought this is pretty expected, in my opinion. I'm not the biggest Colts guy. It showed in my predictions throughout the NFL. Predictions. Tyler Lockett absolutely went off with the Seahawks and Russell Wilson. And their offense is going to be really good this year. As for the Colts, I've never been a big fan of them. And if you honestly want to hear what a really big thing about me talking to them, you guys should check out my predictions videos because I talk prediction video because I talked about how the reasons I'm not that big on the Colts.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, I do like the way the Seahawks played. I mean, they're still a very good team no matter what. You know, their receivers, Tyler Lockett was the one who showed up. I feel like every week, I'm just going to say this, for the season, I'm just not going to say it again, but every week it's a different receiver. It could be Tyler Lockett. Most weeks it's DK Metcalf. I swear, DK Metcalf always is Russell Wilson's main receiver, but you can see Lockett got more numbers and obviously got the ball a little more. I don't know. It doesn't show the targets on there, but I believe Lockett got more targets. But Metcalf,
probably did.
Metcalf always shows up no matter what game. Always at least puts up a few more than 20 yards in my opinion, and he's just a great player. And for the Colts, Carson Wentz. Obviously, he's Carson Wentz. He didn't have the best game. Honestly, wasn't the worst game either, though. The running game also needs to step up. Jonathan Taylor needs to put up way better numbers than that. They gotta, they used about 17 carries with him, 9 carries with Hines. They ran the ball a lot, but he's got to go somewhere with that ball. And that O-line is a top 5 O-line in my opinion. They need to step up. And for the receiving game, another part of the offense that needs to step up. Their whole offense isn't the best offense. They got to have guys who show up like Michael Pittman in my opinion, Zach Pascal, Paris Campbell. I like their chances though. I don't really know if they're going to make the playoffs, but a good game for them.
Yeah, just to add on that for a second, their top 2 receivers in this game were both running backs, which isn't a good look on the receivers, just saying.
Yeah.
All right, but next up is a really big surpriser, Jaguars versus Texans. I was just super surprised about this. The Jaguars definitely didn't have a great game. Trevor Lawrence throwing 3 interceptions in his first game. Kind of expected, to be honest. It's kind of how it works in your first game. And the running game, Carlos Hyde didn't have a bad game. James Robinson just didn't really do too much. I mean, he only had 5 carries.
Yeah, they didn't give the ball to him. I didn't understand that.
I had him on my fantasy, and I was just really surprised they didn't give the ball to him. But DJ Chark had a decent game today with Marvin Jones. I remember Marvin Jones came up with a pretty big touchdown. But anyway, and then as for the Texans, man, I'm so surprised about this one. 37 points. Texans are supposed to be the worst team in the NFL, and they were fighting their first game. This kind of reminds me about the Jaguars last year in a way. It could be like that. But Tyrod Taylor played great. 2 touchdowns. Marvin Ingram really did have a good game, 85 yards. And Brandon Cooks, man, he showed up. And Pharaoh Brown, I'll be honest, I don't even know much about Pharaoh Brown. Brandon Cooks is a guy that actually was not really used the past couple of years, but used to be really, really good. And he's still not that old. And he's actually did really good.
Yeah. And, as for, the Jaguars, in my opinion, they just didn't show up. Trevor Lawrence also didn't really show up either. He's just not a very pleasing start, in my opinion, for Jaguars fans. I didn't expect him to do much. Still threw 3 TDs, 300-plus yards, and not bad. But the running game just was horrible. Carlos Hyde, especially the fact that he threw 51 passes, and the running game, only had total, with their running backs, only had 14 carries, then plus Chenault. That is not something you want to see when it comes to play calling. Obviously, Urban Meyer and the Jags coaching staff, they're experienced, but I don't understand why you're not running the ball, especially with a rookie quarterback. You don't want him to get hurt. You don't want him to overthrow a lot of his receivers. The receivers put up decent numbers, but obviously the top 3 with Chark, Jones, and Chenault. And then for the Texans, I'm sorry, I didn't really finish off with the Jaguars. He just didn't play a very good game.
Fine. You just go to the Texans.
And for the Texans, Tyrod Taylor, obviously a very good start. And Mark Ingram with 26 carries, 85 yards, touchdown. Amazing game for him. Brandon Cooks, like you said, showed up. Farrell Brown, don't know much about him, as you said, but still pretty pleasing game from him. And honestly, every coach on this Texans team has the right to be so pleased. All right, and I think that, like I said, every coach deserves to be happy about the way they played. And that's really all I have to say about the Texans. What do you, next game, just go on?
Yeah, all right. So, Our next game we're going to be talking about is Chargers versus Washington. Man, this is actually a decent game. I was kind of back and forth, definitely at points. Justin Herbert throwing one touchdown. He actually had a decent game. Austin Eckler was pretty quiet, to be honest. Not bad, though. Keenan Allen had a great game. Mike Williams with a touchdown. And, yeah, this is a pretty low-scoring one. I feel like one of the more low-scoring ones in the NFL. Let's just check these defensive sacks. Did anybody have a sack on the team? I forget. Joey Bosa with the sack. But, yeah. And then as for Washington, Ryan Fitzpatrick could get injured. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Taylor Heineke came in, and a lot of people are saying he actually played better. But yeah, his stats do show that. Antonio Gibson had 90 yards, which is nice for them. And Terry McLaurin did his thing. Logan Thomas with the big-time touchdown, but they still were not able to win it. Bryson, what do you think?
Yeah, honestly, it was a low-scoring game, which I think means that both the defenses did, I guess you could say, good. And, other than that, I think it was a very good game, like you said, from, both sides of the ball. And I think that Justin Herbert just, he didn't have the best game, in my opinion. I have him in my fantasy team. Not that it matters, but he just didn't really have the best game. They used the running game very well, actually, like Larry Rountree. Also had a decent game with 8 carries. Nice to see him getting the ball. And Eckler obviously did Eckler things. Keenan Allen, of course, led the receiving. Mike Williams also played very well. And that's all I have to say from the receiving wise. And no one really else. I guess, the defense. Joey Bosa had a very good game. And Kenneth Murray, the rookie, I guess, did well. Of course, obviously, safeties. And then for Washington, Heineke, I feel like every time he comes in, when it comes in a backup situation, always does well for some reason. But, Fitzpatrick's sad to see him go down, especially like a vet like him. And, I'm sure, Benny, you're thinking in your mind, oh my God, let's go. We're going to beat them. Like, okay, you may beat them, but still, props to Fitzpatrick.
I was expecting no, you're not beating them, but hey, we gotta, okay, yeah, you might beat them.
Rushing wise, Antonio Gibson, very good game. Heineke ran actually decent yards right there. Jared Patterson didn't get the ball that much. Neither did McKissick. And receiving wise, McLaurin did not have a very good game, especially for Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then Logan Thomas had a touchdown, 30 yards, not pleasing in my opinion. And can you scroll down to the defense? I just want to see. Hold on. Yep, Montez Sweat with the sack. Also, William Jackson got an interception. Nice job there. And DeAndre Carter did their kicking, and that's really all it. Jonathan Allen also got a sack. But, yeah, nice game by both sides of the ball once again for both teams.
Yeah, I feel like that was definitely a low-scoring game. Next, we're going on to the Eagles versus Falcons, a game I personally watched and paid attention to the most, probably, besides the Giants game. First off, starting with Jalen Hurts, I gotta say, Jalen Hurts played amazing, and I'm being honest, Giants fan. I'm not the big Jalen Hurts guy, but he definitely played great, and he proved a lot of that was wrong. Miles Sanders had a nice game right there, and Jalen Hurts definitely did some things as the run game. Kenneth Gainwell also had a great game with the touchdown. Devontae Smith played pretty well. He wasn't, huge, but he did have that one big-time touchdown, which was awesome. And he had a few other catches in there that was decent. Jalen Reagor also wasn't bad. Same thing with Dallas Goedert. So they had a few guys, really chipping in for them. As for their defense, they locked them down to 6 points. It was really impressive. Javon Hargrave had 2 sacks. He played well. But, yeah, that's the main, I think, thing I wanted to talk about for them. Also, I like Quez Watkins a lot. He also didn't have such a bad game. They really used him at the beginning of the game. As for the Falcons, man, this was a really bad game. Matt Ryan didn't play horrible, but he really didn't do too much. Cordell Patterson was, fine. But he wasn't amazing. And even though he has, it looks like he had 7.7, he really wasn't that good. But Mike Davis also was fine. But Calvin Ridley had a decent game, but once again wasn't great. Kyle Pitts had a couple fouls and stuff on him, penalties. But he was decent. But not some Dalton. He was definitely not as good as Devonta Smith. And yeah, as for their defense, man, their defense just struggled. So that was a really bad game for the Falcons. Great game for the Eagles. We'll have to see what they both do against different opponents, especially the Eagles. I'm really excited to see them next week and see them. I believe they play the 49ers, so I'm excited to see how they do against a little bit harder team. But yeah, Bryson, you want to talk about your team?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, amazing game for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts played very well. Very, very pleasing, in my opinion. And rushing-wise, you can see they really spread the ball out to the running backs. Boston Scott didn't get any carries. I don't really know if he was suited up for the game, to be honest. Miles Sanders, of course, played a very well game. Jalen Hurts, when he ran the ball, was really efficient with it. And looking at the receiving just go down, I just want to show all the receivers because they did a great job spreading the ball around, in my opinion. Almost every receiver got at least 3 receptions, except, Ertz isn't a receiver, but, Rager and Smith did very well, in my opinion. Goddard did very well. Sanders did a good job receiving. Ertz, Watkins did very well. Not very well, but well. And Javon Hargrave, amazing game from him. Off the defensive-wise, Hassan Ridgeway also got that sack, but a few penalties on him. And the secondary started off a little rocky, but they got in their zone. I just think that we can't be giving up chunks of yardage too early in the game, especially. But, they found their ways, and I'm not mad of the result. And for the Falcons, it's a rough game. Matt Ryan, his oldness is starting to hit him. The O-line just was horrible. The running game was horrible. Receivers were okay. Kyle Pitts being the highest drafted tight end ever, I think it was, just played horrible. Calvin Ridley didn't do what I guess he was expected to do, but still pretty good numbers in general. And I feel like Hayden Hurst honestly played a better game than Pitts. The stats don't show that, just in my opinion. And for the defense, also pretty horrible. That's all I really have to say.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the stuff you're saying there. Next, let's get on to Steelers vs. Bills. What a surprise right here. I saw some of this game. Ben Roethlisberger actually had a good game. Najee Harris struggled, honestly, a little bit. Only averaging 2.8 per carry. Chase Claypool with one big run, though. Juju had a decent game. They really spread out the ball a lot. Deontay Johnson definitely was not bad. And, their defense also held Bills to 16 points, which is very impressive. TJ Watt with 2 sacks coming off that new contract. Cameron Hayward with the sack also. And then as for the Bills, I would say they're definitely disappointing. Josh Allen was fine, but not great. And Devin Singletary was actually decent, but their receivers got to step up right here. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and Emmanuel Sanders, none got to 70 yards. And none of those guys scored a touchdown even. Gabriel Davis was the only guy to score a touchdown out of those receivers, and I believe who was the other touchdown scored by? I actually don't know. Yeah. But actually that might have been all field goals. I actually don't know.
I think it was only one.
Maybe it was one.
I think they
they got to score more on that offense. Yeah. And their defense did fine, but I don't really think the Steelers' offense is really even that good. So I was pretty disappointed with the Bills.
So for me, honestly, it was a pretty disappointing game, for especially the Bills. The Steelers didn't play the best either, but their defense played very well. And I believe, I believe personally the Steelers' offense, aside from Roethlisberger and that O-line, is a very young team. And I believe that, they gotta give the ball to the youngsters more. Like, giving the ball, they gave the ball to Najee a lot, but he didn't do much with the ball. They gave the ball to, Eric Ebron. And, other than that, they gave the ball to their 3 main receivers. And I'm pretty sure, go down. I just, past the defense, I just want to see. Juju, I'm pretty sure, was doing their kick returns, which is a little interesting. I don't think he actually returned.
I actually don't think he did.
I don't think he returned a kick, but I'm pretty sure he was supposed to. He was back there to return. But other than that, decent game, especially for the defense and TJ Watt coming off that contract, like you said. And other than that, that's really it. And for the Bills, a very embarrassing game. And I say this, I think this every year when I think of the Bills, because I think looking at that offense, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and then I'm looking for more names and I just can't find them. So I feel like their players didn't, like Cole Beasley, he's a vet. He did what he needs to do. And, the running game was decent. Singletary actually had a pretty good game. But with Zach Moss coming back, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Here's their defense if you need to say anything about that.
Yeah, not much, but pretty good game by the secondary.
But anyway, our next game we're going into is the 49ers versus Lions. I mean, the 49ers beat them, which is expected, but the fact that the Lions scored 33 points, man, that's pretty crazy. So Trey Lance came in. He had threw one pass, 5-yard touchdown. Good to see. But Jimmy Garoppolo had actually a good game. Eli Mitchell actually had also a good running game. Rahim Mustard, only 2 carries. He has an injury. We'll talk about that later, I think, maybe.
We will.
Receiving, Deebo Samuel had an absolute beast of a game. 9 receptions for 180 yards and a touchdown. George Kittle also had a little bit of a comeback type of game. He had a lot of injuries last year. Those were their 2 main receivers. As for the defense, I mean, I'm pretty disappointed in their defense to allow 33 points. Especially a team like the Lions. Pretty unacceptable in my opinion, but their offense was able to do some really big things, which is awesome. Then the Lions, and I actually was pretty impressed with the Lions. I mean, Jared Goff threw an interception, but he threw 3 touches, which was really impressive. Jamal Williams definitely wasn't bad. He averaged 6 yards per carry, which is ridiculous. So he did a good job. DeAndre Swift seemed to struggle a little bit on the other hand. Receiving, T.J. Hawkinson had a really good game. DeAndre Swift, though, in the receiving game did good. Same thing with Jamal Williams. So the running backs showed up and the tight ends. So instead of, it was a big worry, the receivers, but it looks like they're finding other ways, to really get some receiving yards. And as for the defense, I mean, they played horrible. 41 points shows that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep this short and sweet. Pretty good game.
Yeah.
Pretty good game for the running game, honestly, other than Rahim Mustard, and pretty good game for the receiving. Defense, a little disappointed, and that's really all I got to say for them.
Yeah.
For the Lions, you cover most of it, but for the Lions, I'm a little worried about the receivers. They found a way to get the ball into receivers' hands, and their running backs, actually. But I'm a little worried. They don't have the best receiving core, and I'm thinking that they maybe go after maybe a vet who's maybe on a practice squad, or maybe sign someone to the practice squad, because they just don't have a lot of players. Maybe in the trade deadline, go after someone. Obviously, that's not really that big in football, but other than that, pretty bad game for their defense. Their offense didn't do any better. Just a pretty embarrassing game, honestly, for both defenses, but the offenses really played a well game.
Yeah. And then, this is the Vikings versus Bengals. Went to overtime. Kirk Cousins actually not with the bad game. Justin Jefferson also threw a pass. Dalvin Cook had actually a struggling type of game. 20 carries but only 61 yards. He did score a touchdown, though. Adam Thielen had a great game, though. 9 for 92 and 2 touchdowns, which is a big deal. Justin Jefferson, 5 for 71. Not a bad game. Their defense kind of struggled a little bit, but wasn't, I guess, horrible compared to some of these other defenses.
Who had 2 sacks? Someone had 2 sacks.
Let's see. Who was it? That was Michael Pierce with 2 sacks. Yeah,
really?
As for the Bengals, Joe Burrow had a good game. Joe Mixon did too. Jamar Chase with a big game. He had a lot of worries, but yeah, he had a nice performance. T. Higgins also scored a touchdown. Tyler Boyd was a little quiet. And their defense was fine, I guess you could say. But you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is a back and forth game, honestly. I think in the fourth quarter is when mainly the points came in. I forget for which team. Just go up a little bit. I just want to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota played very well fourth quarter. That's where the OT was forced. And then it was a really back and forth overtime until Cincinnati got it in the end. And, Cincinnati played a decent game, to be honest. Vikings, I'm a little disappointed. Dalvin Cook just couldn't do what he normally does. And it's pretty surprising. It's only 3 yards per carry. It's usually like, anywhere from 7 to 12 yards, I feel like, per carry with Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And the receiving game played very well, in my opinion. Who's KJ Osborne? Came out of nowhere.
I actually do not know who that is. I'm not going to lie.
Pretty good game from him, I guess. Defense played decent, even though they still lost for the Bengals. I'm not sure. Joe Burrow, decent game coming off that ACL injury. Mixon also had a very good game. 29 carries. The fact that they gave the ball to him 29 times is a little.
Yeah.
Probably they didn't want to waste Burrow yet. And Burrow ran with the ball for 2 yards. That was really it. No surprise there. And Chase had a very good game. Same thing with T. Higgins. And other than that, Tyler Boyd didn't really show up. Defense played very well.
All right, next team. Jets vs. Panthers. This was a just a kind of like low-scoring game. Probably not the most exciting game with the Jets versus Panthers.
Yeah.
Not the game number one on my list to watch. Zach Wilson, 2 touchdowns, but threw his first interception, as expected, like a Blackbird. Quarterbacks that in the rookie years. Tevin Coleman struggled. Their running game, just in general, struggled a lot. Corey Davis, though, had a good game. First time on the team. Dizzlemans had one big catch, but other than that, he was pretty quiet. Braxton Berrios also had okay game, I guess you could say. As for their defense, I guess their defense actually did pretty good. I mean, 19 points in today's NFL is not that much. So yeah, they did decently. As for the Panthers, Sam Darnold played fine. I feel like he more played like a game manager type of role, in my opinion. But yeah, they the thing about the Panthers though is they scored at the beginning, but they really struggled throughout the actual game. Struggled scoring. So that is a concern. Christian McCaffrey though looked like himself. He only got 9 carries though. Or actually, no, that's receptions right there. There we go. That's what I thought. Yeah, but he looked like himself again. Even though he didn't score a touchdown, though, he had 98 yards, pretty good, and he was amazing in the receiving game. On top of that, DJ Moore also had not a bad game. Robbie Anderson with a one catch for a one big catch. Shaq Thompson with a sack, and yeah, their defense played very good though, so that's something good to see. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be really quick. Actually, looking at time, but Zach Wilson, decent game. Running backs, pretty bad game. I don't know why they didn't give the ball more to Carter, and Elijah Moore, another rookie, didn't play very well at all. Other than that, pretty good game. And for the Panthers, another short, sweet thing. Receiving core did very well. Sam Darnold did okay. Christian McCaffrey did Christian McCaffrey things. Other than that, defense as well. Good game.
Yeah. All right, next up, we have the Cardinals vs. Titans, a big surprise. And yeah, Kyler Murray threw a great game, even though he threw an interception, great game. Chase Evans wasn't bad. DeAndre Hopkins actually had a good game, I guess. He was like Christian Kirk looked like great though. Yeah, he looked amazing. Out there. But yeah, this is a big surprise in my opinion. The Cardinals defense did a great job, especially Chandler Jones coming with 5 sacks. Amazing game from him. Titans offensive line was horrible. Ryan Tannehill wasn't great. Derrick Henry just struggled getting 2 things. And yeah, the receivers really didn't do too much. And their defense struggled a ton. So yeah, that's what I thought I saw from that game.
Yep, I agree. Kyler Murray played an outstanding game. D-Hop also an outstanding game. Same thing with Christian Kirk. And the running game was okay. Chase Edmonds had 12 carries for 63 yards. James Conner actually used the ball very well. And they really split the snaps. And other than that, very good game defensively wise. And Titans just did not show up. Did not do what I expected them to do. Derrick Henry just didn't have the best game. A.J. Brown didn't have the best game. Whoever Chester Rogers is, congrats, you got 60-plus yards. Probably some guy off the practice squad. And other than that, pretty good game.
Yeah. All right, next up, we have the Browns vs. Chiefs. This one was a really nice game right here. Baker Mayfield, he actually struggled a little bit, but wasn't actually horrible. His stats weren't great, but he didn't play horrible. Nick Chubb, though, had a very good game. Same thing with Kareem Hunt. I mean, this rushing is so good. Even Njoku had showing up. And Jarvis Landry, also Odell did not play for those wondering. But yeah, and then as for their defense, man, their defense just struggled. But who doesn't struggle against the Chiefs, I guess? Patrick Mahomes doing Patrick Mahomes things. CEH played okay, I guess you could say. Tyreek Hill, though, went off. Travis Kelce did too. I mean, this is, once again, Chiefs things. They did allow a lot of points on the defense, though, which is a little bit of a worry. You have any thoughts?
I'm just going to be honest. Good game from both teams, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, they both played well. But Chiefs are just a better team, and they're a tough team to beat. Dolphins vs. Patriots. This was a close one. It started out with the Patriots. They were really taking the lead 17-3. Then the Dolphins actually came up, and yeah, well, they did some good things at the end. But so the Patriots actually didn't pull it out, even though they were up by actually a good amount. But Tua had an okay game. Their running game, Myles Gaskin did fine. Devontae Parker and Jalen Waddle did good. their defense did a great job. Both teams' defenses, I feel like, did a lot of good teams. Oops, sorry about that. But yeah, both the defenses did good jobs. Mac Jones in his first start did good also. And Nelson Aguilar had a nice game.
Yep, I agree. Mac Jones played very well. Tua played not the best. Gaskin, not the best. Receiving wise, just don't have the best receiving core, but Jalen Waddle had a good game. Same thing with Devontae Parker. And defense played decent. Patriots, run game was very well. Damian Harris put up an amazing game. I wish they gave the ball to Stevenson a little more. Maybe used him as a receiving back because he was honestly looked very well during the preseason. And then, obviously Aguilar played well. James White got the ball when it came to receiving, and Jacoby Myers played very well. The tight ends also did very well. Defense did okay. Other than that, good game.
All right. Next up, the next game will be, oh man. So I just released a video about this like right before this podcast started.
Yeah, go watch that.
Yeah, go make sure.
I'll put the link to that in the description.
Okay, so I'm not gonna give like too much thoughts, but man, Teddy Bridgewater went off against us. He did great job on him. Melvin Gordon also looked pretty good, but his stats are definitely inflated because he had one really big run. Other than that, he actually didn't really do too much, to be honest. I feel like John Vontae Williams, Monk, across the game actually played better than him. Jerry Jeudy had a great game before getting hurt. We'll talk about that later. Noah Fant played amazing also. KJ Hammer was good. Tim Patrick was good. Those guys were all good. Their defense also did an amazing job. Just really, really good job. Especially, definitely the run defense did a great job against us. As for us, once again, I did have a video and I really focused on us and that, so I'm not going to talk too much. But Daniel Jones actually didn't play that bad, but he did have one big costly fumble. Saquon really couldn't get going because the run defense was doing really good, and our offensive line, which is not run blocking well, even though they were pass blocking decently. Jasper went off, though, had a great game. Kenny Galladay was very good when we used him, but sadly, we decided not to use him much in the game. And our defense was very bad. I'll just put it at that. So, yeah. You have any thoughts, Bryson?
Just gonna agree with you. Bridgewater played very well. Run game was okay. And the receiving game was okay. Cortland Sutton didn't have the best game. Jeudy just didn't. When he was on the field, he was good till he got injured. And Noah Fant had a very good game. Same thing with Hamler and Tim Patrick with the touchdown. Defense was insane. I'll just put it at that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say insane, but very good. And for the Giants, I'm not going to blast you guys, but you guys sucked.
All right. Well, we'll have to see. I'm not going to overreact yet.
Don't
overreact.
It
did not look good. Then we have a big surpriser. Packers went only for 3 points to the Saints, 38. Aaron Rodgers played horrible. Jordan Love came in and didn't do too much either. A.J. Dillon, they just couldn't get anything going in the run game either. I mean, the Saints just did an amazing job, I feel like, in this one. Honestly, they just did such a good job. Devontae Adams didn't even do too much, and none of the receivers even did too much. Their defense also played horrible. Saints, Jameis Winston had an amazing game, and he looked amazing. Same thing with Kamara, Deontay Harris, Juwan Johnson. Adam Trautman. I mean, these guys are getting it done. I don't know what to say. They just did great. Same thing with the defense was also unstoppable. Paulson and Debo with the interception. You have any thoughts?
Nope. Aaron Rodgers played horrible. Packers did horrible. I feel like I may put a video about this. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. My prediction is that they're gonna tank. I don't think Aaron Rodgers, even though he stayed, I don't think he likes it. That's all I'm gonna have to say.
Yeah, I definitely. I could agree with you there. But let's see. The
last
next
two
games
were the Sunday night, Monday night games. There's not much to explain other than.
Yeah, this one is a pretty obvious one. But all that really happened was Matthew Stafford showed why he was traded. And he just added on to the Rams team that is already looking really good. Really just add on. Bears just struggle with the Andy Dalton, although Justin Fields actually looked pretty decent. So. But yeah, the Bears just struggled, especially on defense. They looked horrible. They looked lost. As for the Ravens vs. Raiders, Bryson, do you want to take this one on and talk about this one?
Yeah, I'll just talk about this. Lamar, other than the end of the game, played very well. Derek Carr, I heard I'm just going to say this real quick. I heard Derek Carr, because the winning touchdown pass went to Zay Jones.
Yeah.
That he was when you need to throw, he'll be there. First one in the practice facility out of all the receivers, always putting in the work. So that's something good you want to for Raiders fans. Darren Waller played a very good game. Both defenses played decent. The running game for both teams wasn't the best, but Jacobs had 2 touchdowns, but nothing much when it came to yardage. Derek Carr played very well, and that's really all I got to say. So we're going to, I guess, just switch gears and move right into our biggest surprises in Week 1. We're just going to go over a few teams, make it short and sweet, get into the injury report, which will also be really short. Then the next week's games, which will be a little longer. That'll be it. But
but the biggest teams that surprised, we're just going to kind of focus in a little bit more on the teams that surprised. And let's look at our biggest teams that surprised. First off, at the Texans, man. The Texans, like we talked about, it was a surprise from them. Their offense played amazing. Their offense just played amazing. Bryson, you have any extra things to say about their offense?
No, just a very good game. And if you don't mind, I'll go into our second team, which was the Saints. Obviously, they won by 35 against Aaron Rodgers, which is a little insane. And great game for them. Great game from that offense. Very, very well game from the defense, too. And pretty good game in general for the Saints.
Yeah, then I'll take on the next one, which is the Packers, which is the opposite side. Yeah, really just the opposite. Aaron Rodgers played horrible. Their whole offense really disappointing. Their defense also played horrible. Not as bad, not like as disappointing as their offense, but their offense was also both sides are horrible. The team fell apart. Bryson, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I'll take it away. Another team that was on the losing side of the ball was the Titans. They really underperformed. A lot of people said they were going to win. They lost by a decent margin, and the Cardinals really made them look bad. Especially not a good looks for a team that has a very good offense, in my opinion. Hopefully they can turn that around sooner than later, and they're working on it this upcoming week. I don't know who they take on the Seahawks. Am I correct?
I don't know, actually. I
think
forget.
they do.
We'll look at it. We'll talk about it when we go over next week's games. But I'll take on the next one. The next thing this is a little surprising was the Buccaneers' defense. Not necessarily them as a whole team, but their defense definitely struggled. A team that locked down Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl struggled against the Cowboys offense, who have a good offense, but not close to as good. So that was a little surprising. Bryson, you want to take the next one?
All right, yep. I'm just going to take it away. The Steelers. They weren't really the surprising team, but they overperformed. They did what they, I guess, were more expected to not do. And I believe a very good game from the offense, very good game from the defense, too. And you can take it away with the next one, which is on the losing side of the ball.
Yeah, on the losing side of the ball, we do have the Bills. They were a great team last year. I think they got it together, but they really just couldn't score points. They did a good job on defense, but they got to work on getting some points up on the board. They got to get that passing offense going.
Yep, I agree. And last but not least, we got my Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going to talk about them. We already knew. We already said what we had to say. And basically just a very good game offensively and defensively. That's all I got to say. And we'll just hop right into the injury report. We can you have them right here. Just we'll alternate.
Oh yeah, I see them right here.
Yeah, we'll alternate. I'll just start off with these three. So the first one, Jerry Jeudy was placed on IR. He's high ankle sprain, thankfully not an ACL. I don't really know how much he'll be playing the rest of the season, but still not a good sign for a young guy like him who's supposed to have a breakout season.
Yeah, the next one is OBJ. He did not play this last game, and he is questionable for the next game. We'll see what happens with him. I guess not rushing it back after an injury, so we'll see what happens with him.
Yep. Next up, Michael Gallup was placed on the IR after Thursday night's game. There wasn't much information about it. I think it was an injury that I'm not exactly sure what it had to do, but he was on the IR, so it was a good injury. Not good, but pretty bad, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And next is Brandon Smith, offensive tackle for the Colts. And he supposedly has injured his foot during the loss to the Seahawks and will be monitored through the week.
Yep, and I just wanted to say this real quick. He suffered a calf injury, won't be returning until October.
Okay.
That was what Michael Gallup was. Next up, we got Tyron Matthew, who did not suit up in the last game for the Chiefs. He's questionable to return to practice and for the next game. So hopefully he gets in there and helps out that team.
Yeah, our next guy is going to be Yannick Ngakoue. Coach Green said he pulled a hamstring during Monday's contest, and he actually played really well. So, yeah, not good for them, but he's questionable right now.
Yep. Brian Bulaga, the offensive tackle for the Chargers, coach Brandon Staley said Monday that Bulaga is considered to be a day-to-day injury, and Daniel Popper of the Athletic reports not really much information.
But yeah, not much information on that one. The final one we have for today is Trent Brown. He's questionable. Brown is considered day-to-day after injuring his calf during Sunday's season opener. So yeah, hopefully he gets better.
There's actually a few more.
Oh, really? Is there a few more?
Yeah.
Oh, I see that now.
My bad. But Marshawn Lattimore was doubtful. He will undergo surgery on Tuesday to address the chip bone in his thumb. That is pretty interesting. The Saints are viewing him as a week-to-week injury, but he probably won't be back until October. That's not what it says. I'm just assuming that. And, yeah, that's a big loss in that secondary.
That's a guy that I believe he just got actually paid. Like, he just got a new contract. Yeah. So interesting there. Saquon Barkley, still limited participant. This is really just from the ACL last year. They're still just limiting him. We saw in the game, so he's just continuing to get limited, just so people know.
Yep. Next up, we got Zach Ertz. Pulled his hamstring in the game, still being evaluated, but Coach Nick Sirianni was encouraged by Ertz's ability to return to Sunday's win over Atlanta. Got injured. Hopefully he's okay. I assume it's nothing too bad. He's just a questionable, and you can finish it off.
Yeah, and our final one is Rahim Mustard. He's activated to the injured reserve. They placed him on injured reserve on Tuesday after a knee injury. So, yeah, interesting for them. We'll see. They also caught Wade Gallman, so we'll see who they run with that running back.
Yep. So that's
all right.
That's gonna be it for the injuries. We're just gonna completely switch gears to our predictions for next week. We're gonna probably keep track of them. We're gonna go. What I'm probably gonna do is I'm not gonna write it down right now. Probably gonna go back after the week's over, check, and I'll just keep me and Benny's total or tallies, or we could keep them for ourselves or something like that. And every week we'll update them on them so you can actually get a sense of our predictions. But we made this cool little slideshow, so we'll just alternate the games, or I'll start, then you'll start. We'll just keep going like that.
Yeah, we'll just kind of alternate. So I guess I'll start out this one.
Yeah,
I guess it's Thursday night football, and it's Giants versus Washington. Both teams have both lost 3-1, but I do unfortunately have the Washington football team winning. What about you, Bryson?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the football team just because you guys I don't think are gonna get it yet. Also, a very good D, so I'm just gonna say that.
All right. So, sorry about this. Our next one is Steelers versus Raiders.
Here, I'll go first, I guess.
Yep.
I'm gonna go surprising. I'm gonna go the Raiders. I like the way they played in Week 1. I believe Heinz is a pretty good stadium when it comes to home field advantage, but I believe that Derek Carr still has a pretty good game. Darren Waller also has a very good game. I just think the Steelers just have a week where they just don't really get the win. And I feel like that's where the Raiders come in and start off the season pretty strong.
Yeah, I think that was going to be a fluke game for the Steelers, to be honest. And I think the Raiders actually are a legit team more. Yeah, I really like them. I'm going to have them winning too. Next is going to be the 49ers versus the Eagles. And in this one, I will have the 49ers winning this one. I think there's going to be too much for the Eagles. I think the defense will kind of come back. I think a lot of defenses played bad in Week 1, but they're going to be better. So, yeah, I think 49ers defense will be better. I think their offense might just be too much for the Eagles to handle. I still think it will be kept close, though.
Yep, I'm going to say this. This may be a little biased. I'm going to take the Eagles for a few reasons. One, we're at home. The Link is probably a top 5, I would say top 5, top 10 stadium when it comes to home field advantage. And we beat the 49ers last year when they were actually playing at their home. And I believe that, even they let the Lions score 33. If Jalen Hurts continues to roll and the receivers continue to play well, I think it could be a close one. Come down to the last quarter. Maybe we get the win. I'm going to just give it to us, but it probably will go to them. But I'm for the sake of the reasons.
All right, our next game is going to be Texans versus Browns.
All right, I'll lead it off. I'm gonna take the Browns. Texans just are gonna be not. Browns are gonna be too much for the Texans. They're gonna come off a lucky week 1, but it's not gonna carry.
Yeah, I feel like the Browns definitely going to win this one. I think Browns are they lost just because they played the Chiefs. And most other teams they would have won. And Texans are probably a fluke, to be honest. Next up is Broncos versus the Jaguars. I'm gonna have the Broncos win this. Jaguars played horrible last week, and the Broncos actually played very impressively. Even though we're playing a team that is considered to be bad by most NFL fans, the Giants. They actually really impressed in my opinion. I think they played way better than I thought they did, and I think a lot of NFL people thought they did. So yeah, that's what I think. I think the Broncos are going to win this one.
Yep.
What about you?
I'm gonna go with the Broncos. I honestly think that they'll still play very well. Good game. Defense steps up. Pretty good game for them, in my opinion. I got them winning this.
Alrighty, our next one.
All right, Saints Panthers. This is gonna be an in-division game, and it's gonna be a surprising one because I believe that it's gonna be a good game from both teams, and I'm gonna actually take the Panthers at home. I think their offense just sparks another game. I think it'll be a close one, but give me the Panthers.
I don't know. I think the Saints. I think the Panthers will score like 23 points or something like that. But I feel like the Saints' offense is gonna be too much for them. And I think that Panthers played a really bad team on the Jets last week. And their defense is really gonna fall apart in this game, and the Saints are gonna take this one away.
Yep. It'll be either way, but I
think it should go either way. Next one is LA versus the Colts. I have Los Angeles winning. They looked really impressive. Colts did not. And I think Los Angeles is definitely a Super Bowl contender.
Yep, I'm going the Rams too, no doubt.
All
right. Next up, we got the Bills Dolphins, which is gonna be a closer game in my opinion. I think the Bills come back though; they get the win, and I just personally think that Tua's just not gonna have a very good game, especially against this feasting Buffalo D with Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, and that line.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what you said. I was really about to say the same exact thing. I think Tua definitely struggle, and maybe the Bills their offense won't necessarily be amazing like they were last year in the end of the season, like for this game. But I think their offense will be better than they were last week. But Our next one is going to be the Patriots versus the Jets. I have the Patriots winning this one. The Jets just weren't impressive last weekend. Two rookies coming at it, both in the same division. But I think the team that's more impressive was definitely last week with the Patriots. I think they are the more talented team.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think it's kind of probably a make-or-break game for the Patriots. I think they either have a very good game or a very bad game. And honestly, I think the Jets could maybe come up from behind, potentially take this game. But I'm going to go with the Patriots. I just think it's a more safer pick.
Yeah, it definitely is.
All right, next up we got the Bears in Cincinnati. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Bears in Cincinnati. I thought I said the Bears and something else. But we got Chicago against the Bengals, who are another team that played a very good week 1. Bears not so much. I think they're at home. I think that Joe Burrow sort of just has a week where it's not his best week. He still plays okay, but I just don't think they get it done. Give me the Bears in a very close game.
I am going to take the Bengals this one. I thought the Bengals are really impressive. I think their offense is once again going to be too much for the Bears' defense. They definitely struggled a lot last week. I think the Bears' offense will do better. I think it'll be like it would be something like the Bengals had last week, where it's like 24 to 27 points for both teams. But,
yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. Then my next one is going to be the Buccaneers versus the Falcons. I have the Buccaneers winning this one easily and an absolute blowout.
Yeah, I'm just going Buccaneers, no doubt.
All right, our next one is going to be this is the
Cardinals Vikings.
Yeah, you hop in and tell
me. All right, Cardinals Vikings. Vikings very honestly not the best week. These are two teams that were going at it for that last wild card spot, but it ended up not going to either of them.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Didn't it go to the Vikings? I don't know. I'm drawing a blank, but these teams will always battle. I feel like
they always
in late season, but it's actually an earlier season game. At home, I may take the Vikings here. I like their chances. I think they comeback week. Dalvin Cook pops off with probably 100+ rushing yards. Give me the Vikings in a close one.
I'm taking the Cardinals right here. The Cardinals are definitely, in my opinion, the way better team.
Yeah, they're a better team, but you gotta.
I got to take the Cardinals. Sorry.
It's all good. I'm not mad.
All right, next is the Titans versus Seahawks, and this is a crazy one. But I'm actually going to take the Titans. I think they bounced back this week. Even the Seahawks are more impressive, and a lot of people probably are going to have the Seahawks win.
Yep, well, another disagreement here. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I just think that they're still going to win. I just don't think the Titans are going to do well, especially they're not at home. If this was a home game, I'd consider them. But this is in no question, in my opinion. I'm going to take them. I think it's a decent margin, but a pretty close game overall. I got the Seahawks.
All right. Our next one is going to be the Cowboys versus the Chargers. I'm going to take I'm going to take the Cowboys on this one. I think the Cowboys definitely proved their strong offense last week, and I think they're able to pull this one out in a high-scoring match.
Yeah, this is a closer one, but I think I'm also going to go with the Cowboys, actually. I believe that this is just another decent week for them. They get the win. It's not the biggest win they can get. I just feel like the Chargers are going to collapse. I just don't think they're really the stronger team. When you look at the matchups, I like the Cowboys.
Yeah, same. All right.
Sunday Night Football, by the way.
Now, yeah, this is Sunday Night Football, an absolute thriller. Probably, actually be a really good game. Chiefs versus Ravens, but I'm going to have to take the Chiefs. I think they just really show up against the Baltimore's defense, especially.
They're just
a high-scoring game.
Yeah, they're just a better team, in my opinion. I think it'll be a good battle from both sides, but give me the Chiefs.
All right, and this is our final one, I believe, right?
Yeah, I'll take it away. We got Green Bay against the Lions. Lions are at home. I think I don't want to take the Lions after what they did in Week 1. I mean, I don't want to take Green Bay either, but I'm going to go Green Bay. I just think this is just a safer pick. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers can tank against the Lions, I don't know how you're going to do that. Honestly, even if the Lions are trying, I just don't think they could win. So I'm going to go with Green Bay in a Monday night. Not a thriller, but probably somewhat of a close game.
I think this is going to be a pretty a boring Monday night, one you might want to sleep through. Because I think the Packers are just going to kind of just take this one away. A nice, easy matchup for them after absolutely getting destroyed. So,
yep.
But yeah.
Well, that is it.
So, the last segment right there.
That was a pretty long podcast. We're going to try to make it a little shorter when we're reviewing the games. I think that's just one thing that has to be done. Other than that, it was a pretty good, well-paced podcast, in my opinion. Once again, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to me. Benny, follow Benny's Twitter. Go check him out. Go check his recent video out. I'm going to put all the stuff in the description, so you'll be able to find that there. And yeah, that's just going to be it. And cue the outro, I guess.